Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast. We got a big one, band that I love, band that we've gotten super into lately, and a band that is celebrating 20 years. We got Derek from Mayday Parade
What's
on the
up?
pod today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you for being here. We're here at the tour at the Salt Shed. How has it been so far? I know it's been a lot of sold out shows. A lot of people excited for this one.
Yeah, it's been like so good. It's like kind of unbelievable. You know, I mean, it's pretty wild. Yesterday was the 16th show, which was the halfway mark of the tour. And it just, I don't know, man. I mean, I talk about it a lot on stage, but it's pretty insane. This is the biggest headline tour we've ever done. And, you know, being 20 years into this band to still kind of, you know, see growth like that or whatever. I don't know. It's just, it's amazing and it's so humbling. And the energy at these shows has been just so cool and so fun. And it's pretty wild. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. I'm really excited about the show tonight. Chicago always is just so amazing, but you know, Salt Shed is, we played here on Sad Summer, the outdoor venue.
We saw you.
Yeah. And so excited to play the indoor room here and, you know, sold out show. It's just going to be pretty insane, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And you also have on this run, too, you have Like Roses and Microwave as well. So what kind of goes into you picking some of those openers, especially for this tour?
Yeah, for sure. And Grayscale as well.
And Grayscale, yes.
Just want to give this a love.
I was like, I know I'm missing one.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a whole, I mean, between like the band and management and booking agents, you know, it's kind of like I guess, you know, first it's kind of like trying to lock in who you have as like direct support. So you kind of brainstorm and throw out ideas, and Microwave was certainly like we probably can't get Microwave, but let's just try. You know what I mean? Like was kind of like and then like it worked out. And so that was kind of the first step. And I just love that band so much. And we toured with them in 2021, but it was like our first tour. It was kind of like when touring just started to open back up post-COVID. And so we, you know, everything was so strict and so locked down, and there was so like, it was like you're on the bus when you play the show and you're back on the bus. Like you weren't allowed to like mingle and hang or really do anything. So we didn't get like a great opportunity to hang with those guys a whole lot. So it's been really nice to you know, get to know them better on this tour, and they're the coolest. And then Grayscale, again, was just like, man, it would be so sick, you know, if we could get them on it. Huge fan of that band, huge fan of their newest album. I talked to Colin, even though we've never toured together, somehow he and I have just kind of like connected from random festivals that we've played or whatever. And we talk quite a bit. So that was really awesome to get them on it. And then Like Roses, played some of Sad Summer, this year or last year. Yeah. And we were just so impressed by them and their set and their energy and like Amy's voice and all of it. And so, it just kind of made sense. So I think it's a really stacked bill and like the coolest people. And we have each singer, Amy from Like Roses, Colin from Grayscale, Nate from Microwave. They all come out and do a song.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh, wow.
Us,
That's awesome.
Like a different song with us. And which is just like so cool. And it's one of my favorite things about the set. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about like how it's been 20 years, and obviously, you know, you've had a lot of records and you've had a lot of impact on the scene, and obviously doing Warped Tour this year as well, like how Warped Tour has brought you to this place and how like Warped Tour really shouldn't be able to do it another year if you weren't on it, right? You know, and like all the inspiration that like you've had for these bands. And so it's like, yeah, like I think these bands like sort of encapsulate like newer generations of what Mayday Parade created. And probably same with Warped Tour too. There's a lot of newer bands that are like, holy shit, like Mayday Parade's on this. And like, they were such a huge inspiration for us back, you know, 20 years ago, 15, 20 years is a long time when I think about it.
It's a very long time. Yeah. Well, that's sweet, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It is insane. And it's, you know, I don't know. It's, you know, I was 19 years old when we started this band, and certainly did not think that we'd be doing this for this long. We just wanted to be a real band. I feel like that was like my, when I was like a 10 to 12 years old, I was like, I just want to be in a band, and cared about it so much, and met Brooks and started playing music with him. And then we were like in local bands. And then out of high school, it was like, we just want to be like a real band. Like you know what I mean? But there wasn't like this, I had no clue what 20 years from then would look like.
Yeah.
I wasn't even on the radar whatsoever, so it's pretty insane. Yeah.
It's interesting to me that you would be, I think with a lot of the bands like in our scene and bands that like I grew up listening to and still love to this day. And it's like, you kind of were in the position to create the scene that came out of it and be like, I was thinking about like the bands that inspired you and then the bands that inspired like future generations on. And I'm like, if those were like the lessons that you took and the examples that like you were like, I want to be in a real band like this. Like there are people now saying, I want to be in a real band like Mayday Parade.
Yeah.
And like you built like this whole thing as a band, doing it kind of your own direction, your own way from there.
Yeah. I mean, that's sweet, man. That's a really neat way of looking at it. But it's always very humbling. And, the bands that I looked up to, like in high school, Taking Back Sunday and Newfound Glory and Saves Today and Jimmy Eat World, Juliana Theory, all of that stuff, it's always, it's almost like a kind of imposter syndrome kind of thing, where it's like, I don't know, people can't feel like the same way that I feel about those bands, about my, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a crazy thing. Yeah.
As you sell out the salt shed. It's like,
yeah,
God, no one
feels that way. Well, even going forward with some of these bands that do look up to you, what are some types of like tips or advice that you could give them to be that quote unquote real band like Mayday Parade?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously things have changed a whole lot. In 20
MySpace
years.
and standing outside Warped Tour with 10,000 copies of your record.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, but like, but I feel like it's that energy of like, I always say this, I don't think I would be here doing this if I hadn't met Brooks. I met Brooks when I was 12. And, we were in 6th grade, 7th grade, whatever it was, and started a band. And I've known a lot of people in Tallahassee that were really or are really, really talented musicians that I thought like, oh, they're going to make it, like they're going to, they got what it takes, but I feel like I never would have been able to like figure out how to do it if not for like Brooks was the one who was like, he's just so proactive. He's so like, let's call these venues and see like if we can get added on to shows. Let's see about like printing our own merch. Let's like buy some recording equipment. It's like he was like I feel like for me it was like we'll practice and we'll talk about like cool stuff, but then like there was no like let's go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Brooks was the one to be like let's just like go do it. And he like booked the first, well, not with Mayday Parade. We were in a band called Defining Moment before Mayday Parade, and out of high school, he booked a whole tour for us, from Florida up the East Coast to Maine and back. Just, emailing promoters, calling promoters, getting added to local shows, just like figuring it all out, and I just feel like I never would have like had the drive to like just go do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've known a lot of people that like have the talent, but they kind of have the like, well, you have to get like discovered. Someone has to like, there's like that other element to it that's missing, but anyway, I guess long story short, like, I mean, I know people can't really like follow tours and sell CDs anymore. Like we were able to kind of get our start doing, but and now so much of it is online and social media, which is a weird thing, but obviously like the bands that are like super active and like really push it, like this is our dream, we're going to put everything into this, like they can find success with that. So like whatever the avenue is, it's just like making it happen, like being proactive and just, putting in the work, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, just being pretty like due diligence. Like you're going to say it, you got to go and do it. Pack up the van, let's go.
Right, for sure. I mean, just like whatever it takes, really, I mean, that's kind of that's what we were like looking for with Mayday Parade, was like finding the other people that were like locked into that same, like, we all want this, we're all willing to like go live in a van for 6 months and just grind and be so dirty and gross and messy, but just like we're out there making it happen, you know. And I feel like it kind of takes that approach and that attitude, you know. But yeah.
I'm glad the answer wasn't make a bunch of TikToks.
Yeah, that's way better than some answers we've gotten in the past.
Yeah.
Sadly, I know that it's mostly make a bunch of TikToks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's kind of what it's turned into. But, you know, it's always shifting. It's always changing. And it's like whatever you can do to, like, I don't know, like stand out, I guess. And because there's so, it's, you know, yeah.
a lot.
I don't know, man. It's these are weird times. We're living in weird times, man. I don't know. Yeah.
You just put out, is it an EP? Is it an album called Sweet?
Yeah. So,
It's like right at that like tipping point where it's like this could be considered an album, but it's not.
yeah.
It's also like a 3-part thing too, and we've seen a lot of bands do that this past year, I feel. So what made you want to have like 3 parts to kind of celebrate these 20 years?
Yeah, well, we basically last year we were in the studio and we were going to record like half of an album essentially. It was like we're going to go in and record 8 songs, whatever, and then the plan would be to go in later and record another 8 songs or whatever and kind of put that together to be our 8th album. That was the plan to start. But while we were in the studio recording the 8 songs that became Sweet, we kind of realized we were like, oh shit! Like, it's funny how we've obviously known the 20 year was like coming up, you know, but then it just feels like all of a sudden it was like, oh man, that's next year, you know?
Yeah,
it was
you're like, oh man, it's coming.
Like, yeah, like we're like right there, and like this, we were like, oh, this music that we're recording will be coming out on our 20 year anniversary as a band. So then it was like, well, you know, what can we do? Like, should we try to do something bigger? Should we try to, you know, make this a more like grand kind of thing? And so we just kind of talked about like, what if we, you know, this bit of music that we're recording right now, instead of being half of an album or whatever, is just like part 1 of a 3-part release. And we just kind of brainstormed that whole thing, and it seemed like a cool idea, and it seemed like the right time to do it. So, you know, it is, I don't really know what to call it either, but but at the end of it, it'll be all 3 as like one big album essentially. Like they'll all be released together, like in one
one massive release.
Yeah.
One deluxe release.
Yeah. So and it'll be a lot of music for sure. But so yeah, I was just kind of like wanting to do something like take on a project like that, and then we've recorded part 2, and that will come out. I can't really say when exactly, but
Okay.
I mean, but not like it won't be too long before we start getting into, you know, putting out songs for that. And then we're actually going in to record part 3 of it right after this tour to wrap it all up. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
How would you say like the sound of not just Sweet, but also the other 2, like really encapsulates like that, the 20 years of it all, like coming from where you started to now and making this 3 album EP thing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint why, but I feel like, at least for Sweet and then for part 2, it all feels very nostalgic to me, you know? And, I can't really say exactly why, but I think we've probably all been, kind of because of the 20 year and whatever, kind of like looking back at our career and our years and like the beginning. And I know certainly for me, especially for this tour, and again, like I talk about this a lot on stage and everything, but like I went back and looked up like the oldest videos I could find of the band, earliest interviews and live shows and whatever. And like, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, because I mean, like, oh, like I was like, when we were 19, 20, 21, but you feel like we probably weren't that much different than we are now,
Yeah.
And when you go back and look and you're like, we were kids, man, like, it's like crazy. It's such a weird thing. Cause like, I hadn't really like done that. I'd never like gone back and like looked at all that like really early stuff and like thought about it and everything. And like, I don't know, I feel like it just kind of puts you in this, I don't know. It's such a like, it's like a both really happy and really sad at the same time.
Defines Mayday Parade
Kind
to
of,
me.
Yeah.
yeah, kind of like thing and kind of mood. And I feel like we're all kind of like feeling that a little bit. And I feel like the music, on these releases kind of like feels like that to me, I guess. Yeah. And it feels like both, kind of a mixture of a lot of that core, what Mayday Parade was at the very beginning, and then with some of like what we are now and how we've grown and evolved, and just a little bit of all that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even thinking with how much nostalgia has kind of played a role just in general with a lot of the emo resurgence, of course, in the last handful of years, what are some other bands that you feel who are currently in the game, who are brand new, maybe a little bit experienced, that you feel really stand out or that you really enjoy listening to?
Well, I'll tell you one. There's a band called The Retrograde from Tallahassee. I highly recommend following them on Instagram. They're such a good band. They're very like, kind of like classic like 70s rock vibes, but just like super talented. They're from Tallahassee, where we're from. And I just like happened to catch them at a show, 8 months ago or so, and was just like truly blown away.
Okay.
I was like, how is this band, like local band from Tallahassee, like putting on this incredible of a show? But they're out there doing it. They tour and they have a following, and I always tell, like, cause I'm, kind of friends with those dudes now, and like, they absolutely have what it takes, I think, to like go all the way, But other than that, I'm bad at like staying super in touch with like what's new and what's modern or whatever. I see all the buzz about Paradox.
Yeah.
When very pumped for those dudes. They clearly have like an awesome future set up for them.
Yeah.
But I don't really. There's not too many other like newer, younger artists that I'm like super familiar with. But I should try to
try to get a little bit back in the game and say like, hey
For
guys,
sure.
hey
Yeah.
kids, what's up?
yeah. Hey, youngins. Yeah.
Do you find yourself ever like, man, I listen to emo music all day. Like I listen to pop punk music all day. I just want to listen to like something else.
Yeah, I feel like through the years I listened to probably less and less of like emo pop punk stuff. I still do. I still listen to it. And still like love it. But I feel like it's just yeah. And a lot of times I'm just like, I don't want to listen to music. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I'm around it all the time. So
The amount of times I'm like, I'm throwing on a podcast. I can't listen to music
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
I need to listen to people talk about a subject that I don't know anything about
for sure.
for a minute.
Yeah.
One of the questions we usually ask people is like, what makes your band so emo? But unfortunately, you're kind of the poster child for that.
Wow.
Of what makes a band emo is like Mayday Parade. That's
Yeah.
what makes them emo.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you could describe in your own words how Mayday Parade is emo.
Oh gosh, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I wish I had something like beautiful to say
Yeah.
here. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's all it's emotional. We write a lot of sad stuff. We always have. I don't really even know why that is. I feel like I'm a pretty happy person. I feel like we're all pretty happy
Yeah.
people in the band. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's therapeutic. You know what I mean? Like, because obviously there are difficult things that we all, go through, and I feel like it helps me like deal with that stuff, and it helps me even kind of like, I feel like I'll write about stuff not even really knowing like where it's going or what, and then I'm like, oh yeah, like that's how I feel. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't have been able to like express that or even like really understand that until I like wrote about it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like you have to put pen to paper and say, this is what it is, and then put it together and kind of like speak it out loud for
Right.
it to really marinate and sit with you.
For sure. Yeah. And so I feel like that just like, is helpful, and that's why I feel like, at least for me, and I'm sure for the rest of the guys, like why we write, such sad songs. But so I think that just kind of is that's where it all comes from, and yeah, it's just a lot of emotion. Yeah,
That's fair.
I've seen so many people like on that I know on Instagram are just like they just saw you in other cities and they're just like, I cried so much tonight, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good review of the show, but like also it's like, oh, it's Mayday Parade, of course, like you would do that.
Like that's the therapeutic release. It's a part of it all.
Yeah, it's actually funny. I talk about this on stage, but like I'm like kind of trying not to be so much of a bummer, like you know what I mean? Like actually, well, one, like going back and looking at all of these videos and stuff, and also a really close friend of mine, like maybe a month before this tour, we were talking about the set, and he's like, I know you'll make it good, and I know you'll make it real sad. And he wasn't saying it as like
a diss or anything,
right? Yeah, but I was kind of like, huh. I was like, yeah. Why, like, I don't want to make these people sad.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to make them happy. So like, I don't know. And again, yeah. So I feel like because I feel like I just talk about like super sad and depressing things on stage, and so I'm trying to kind of like be a little more like uplifting up there.
Yeah.
It is like the emo thing, right, of being sad, but I'm also like, well, if thousands of people are coming out to these shows, clearly like that is an emotion either like they need to experience or it's not actually that sad.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I hear Miserable at Best and I'm like, yeah, throw that shit on. But I'm also like, wait, what am I doing? Like, I need to have a normal day today. I can't just listen to Miserable at Best at 9 a.m. and go, oh yeah, now operate as a person.
Yeah. 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 It's a weird thing for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Derek, that's all we have for you today. We want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This was great.
Yeah.
What cities need to go buy tickets to sell them out?
Oh, I don't even know. But
Find the rest of them on the website, I guess.
Yeah, there's a handful left. I'm really hoping Tallahassee's pretty close. There's a venue called The Moon in Tallahassee. It's kind of like the big spot, and we've never sold it out. It's probably like 200 or 300 tickets away. So I think it will by the end of a tour, but that'll be such a cool, if it does.
Yeah.
Yes. Just because, the hometown show at the end there. And we'll see how it all goes. But I mean, we're so pumped with everything where it's at right now. So, we could not sell a single another ticket and I'd just still be so amazed. So, yeah.
So positive for so sad music.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, thank you, Derek. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And good luck on the rest of the shows.
Thank you so much. Thank you.